If you feel overwhelmed and stretched thin, I wish I could give you a piece of wisdom that I received from a quote of St. Francis of Assisi. This quote gives me clarity for my everyday duties as a mother, entrepreneur, busy person. Today I want to share with you a small shift that has been helping me to stop carrying motherhood as a burden, but start living it with more peace and clarity. You're going to walk away from this video with a simple, faith-filled mindset that's gonna make your days feel lighter and calmer. So if you are folding laundry or just trying to catch your breath today, sit with me for a moment. The other day I was having one of those days where I was feeling super tired and the kids were needy. I had a headache. I was feeling sleepy and tired. And to be honest, I just wanted to go to sleep and let the world roll while I just rest. It was pretty overwhelming. And I was having that intrusive thought that says, you gotta do this, all this. You gotta finish all of it, and you gotta do it today. And it's like there is mountains of things to do, and I am feeling the pressure. I was standing in my kitchen in front of all those dishes from breakfast. We have usually a big breakfast, and I felt that familiar feeling in my chest that, oh man, I need to breathe. I'm feeling like tight, and you just think, how am I supposed to really keep up? How am I supposed to finish everything and do it all? And I immediately had the grace from God to remember that quote from St. Francis of Assisi, and it just came to my head, and I repeated it like I was grabbing a gold nugget or something. So that quote says, start by doing what's necessary, then do the possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. St. Francis of Assisi. Something about that quote just gave me direction and clarity, and really I was able to breathe and get focus on what's necessary. It softened me immediately, and it gave me permission to just be the mom I need to be and not a machine. You know what I mean? Because as moms, we often think we have to be all for everything, to be all for everybody. And we have to just stay calm, don't make any mistakes, be emotionally, intelligent and centered, and get everything done on time, be on top of everybody's needs. In other words, being perfect. Oftentimes I wonder, is it really expected from us to wake up peacefully after we haven't even slept very well at night? I certainly want myself to never nerve snap, or I want myself to just be a peaceful parent and never get frustrated or impatient. And sometimes you start thinking, man, if I was like those moms that they probably are always calm, always patient, always sweet, and always on top of all the stuff they need to do. And maybe that's why I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, because I'm not meeting my own expectations of what I should be as a mother, homemaker, wife, you name it. If this reflection is giving you a little breathing room today, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. These cozy laundry chats are my way to tell you that you are not alone in this job of motherhood and in this journey of life. So what's doing the necessary? Feeding the kids when it's time to eat, breathing, breathing deeply, maybe sitting down and just catching your breath, maybe tidying one small space. The necessary could be just picking up water that spill on the floor so that nobody is going to sleep. Maybe the necessary is picking a mess that's just a tripping hazard for everybody. Necessary doesn't mean perfect. Necessary doesn't mean everything. Just necessary. For example, that day the necessary was to wash that pile of dirty dishes. Maybe another day the necessary is to put that load of washed clothes in the dryer, and that alone is enough for that moment. Then do what's possible. What is possible? Okay. Possible is what your real life allows today. No, not the ideal version of you, but what the real you, what you can do. For example, possible may be wiping the counters in your kitchen, not deep cleaning the kitchen. That day that I was really tired, what was possible for me was to sit down with my kids for 5 minutes and snuggle. But I was not able to. Possible wasn't cleaning their playing area, for example. And suddenly the impossible feels doable. But here's the part that I did not expect. When we stop trying too hard, we realize that it's actually grace that carries us throughout every day. God really works in our small yeses. Those times when we are tired of serving others, but we still make that cup of milk with hot water and honey that they ask you, or that extra snack that you wish you didn't have to serve after you already wash all the dishes. Because I think, God just asks us to do the next necessary thing, then do the next possible thing, and suddenly we are doing the impossible because it's His grace, by His grace, that we do everything. This is what we need to understand, I believe, and I think St. Francis helps us with this quote. Motherhood doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. Because your kids don't need the perfect version of you, they just need the version of you that has the faith to ask God for strength and for His grace. They only need from you that you realize when you need to apologize if you made a mistake, of yelling, of getting out of control in your emotions. They say, us parents also have tantrums sometimes, but I've realized, that they don't need a perfect version of myself that doesn't make mistakes. What they really need is me apologizing, realizing, acknowledging their feelings and my mistakes. And when I do that, I teach them to repair in case they do the same, in case they have they make a mistake as well. So doing the necessary and doing the possible, it's just enough. Some days the possible is very big and I really sometimes go, wow, how did I do all that? And some other days the possible is really, really, really small. But the good thing and what I think the genius of this quote is that both of them are in your hands to do. It's what is doable, and that's all you have to focus on. So to recap, what I've been thinking is that the miracle is not doing more, but is doing less with more grace. Start by doing the necessary, then do the possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. And this is the wisdom that I wanted to share with you, that change has been helping me as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, as a busy person that's always finding projects to do. It gives me back my clarity as to where to go next in the day. And you start just chasing a false expectation of yourself. When I stopped striving for a false expectation about myself, I didn't do more, but now I feel more able to give with love. And ultimately my kids benefit from this because they have a mom that can be flexible, and she is not tired and frustrated, feeling of course overwhelmed, and just the ability that I've learned to let go of my expectations of all the things that I want to accomplish. That one deep breath that I can take when necessary, because if that's the one thing that's necessary, that's the one thing that I'm going to do, and then maybe after that I can do what's possible. And that's when the words of St. Francis of Assisi became part of how I function in life, part of how I organize myself, part of how I manage anxiety-provoking thoughts and overwhelm. You know, my first years of motherhood, I used to be the kind of mom that was frustrated because before having kids, I was able to do whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, at the pace that I wanted to do it. But also, I've realized that, I made the mistake of becoming really impatient with having to slow down and change the course of action that I wanted to take. I have made plenty of mistakes as a man, but God's grace is so abundant and His mercy is endless towards me and everybody. And His grace is what really carries me every single day. I cannot say it enough or stress it enough. Mama, you don't have to do everything today. Start with what's necessary and let everything else breathe. God is going to give you the grace if you need to do more, if you need wisdom, if you need clarity. God fills the space between what you can do and what you wish you could do. And remember, your motherhood is not measured by productivity, thank God, but by your presence. You are already doing more than you think. What if today you only did the necessary or the possible? Thank you so much for sharing this time with me today. And if you enjoy homemaking and simple life encouragement, tap in the video on the screen and I will see you there. God bless. Bye-bye.